Hey guys, this is Emily Lopez, and today I want to talk to you about how to get into the Airbnb market in 2023. I think that sometimes we look at markets that have been established for a long time, and if you're not early in the game, you feel like it's impossible for you to break in, or you're too late to the party. And sometimes that's true, right? So a lot of times you either have to be early, you have to be the first, or you have to be the best. And it's hard to be the best when you're competing with people with a lot of money and capital and experience. So we have to get creative with how we want to break into the market, into the Airbnb sphere. Now, I will start by saying I have started doing Airbnbs in my area, and I can share with you what works, but there's some patterns that I'm seeing that show us where normal everyday people or people wanting to get started are getting forced out of markets, and where are those next markets we should be looking that make sense financially and budget-wise to break into them. So Airbnb has gotten so big, and not just Airbnb, VRBO, short-term vacation rentals of not just hotels, but people's actual homes, people's actual properties, and then this whole micro hotel or boutique hotel scene. Now, because it's gotten big and proven to be profitable, we're starting to see venture capital companies, huge investors busting into these markets, and they're buying these large Airbnb management companies that are already established, and they're buying big buckets of properties in this area. So the problem is, basic economics, that drives the price up because there's more buyers looking in that market. The more you pay for it, the more you have to get out of it to get a financial return. So it pushes the normal guy like me and you out of the situation. Here's an example. Maybe back in the day, you could have bought a house in a nice area or a small little beach community for something affordable, or if you already have the property, you might want to convert it into the Airbnb use, and that makes sense for you. But for me to go in as a beginner in Airbnb and get started, and to be able to buy a $2 million property or a really expensive luxury vacation place, I'm not going to be able to beat out these other competitors bidding in this market. But here's the deal. If you are going anywhere, you have to be able to drive there. There's always places that people can fly to, but some of these places you have to drive, or you have to fly to a certain point and drive the rest of the way because those short little stops are too expensive. So there's a couple areas that I think we really need to start paying attention to. One of those, and this is what's worked for me, and I just got started doing this last year, is major thoroughfare small towns. I live in a really small town, and when I started doing my Airbnb transition from my long-term investment properties, I tried one because I wanted to kind of see how it would work. I wanted to see if there was a market for it. And if it didn't work out, I thought, well, I already have the property, so all I'm doing is investing in the furniture, and I can sell it, or I can give it away or donate it or whatever. So I wanted to test it and see how it went. It went really well. So I did another one, still was doing well. So I did another one. So I have 3 Airbnbs in my small town of less than 30,000 people. But right now I'm working on transitioning more of my long-term rentals into Airbnbs. I live along I-80, which is a huge major interstate, and people always need a place to stay. They stop because they get stranded because of weather. Maybe they have a car issue and they're waiting on a part. I had somebody just stay in one of my properties for 2 weeks because we had bad weather. Smudge is here. We had bad weather, and they had to get a car repair part, and it couldn't get in, and they stayed in one of my properties for 2 nights. They thought it was going to be resolved, and the roads got closed, and I had one I was just finishing up, and fortunately I could let them stay in that property because I hadn't posted it on Airbnb yet, and it was available because I hadn't put it on yet and I had just gotten done. So they had stayed in one of my other units for 2 weeks, but then it was booked, 2 days, and then it was booked. So then they stayed in my unit that hadn't been placed on for 2 additional weeks because they were stuck here waiting for a part. I had another young man who booked last minute booking because the roads closed and he needed somewhere to stay for the night. He was going to stay for a night. He ended up staying for 5 days in a unit unexpectedly. And it worked out well because some of the other reservations had canceled because they couldn't get in for weather. Well, he was stuck for weather, so it kind of balanced out. But when you're on these major areas that you have to pass through to get to somewhere else, let me move my kitty, sorry, she's playing with the cord to this light. Think of those major thoroughfares, major areas that are on the way to destination areas that maybe people wouldn't fly to. Can you get in a small town along the interstate where there's not a lot of accommodations, or a really major big highway where if people need to stop and stay, they're not going to have a lot of other options? but those markets are still affordable to buy in or to rent and then sublease it out if you get permission, because there's not a lot of people looking to stay there. I can't believe how many people get stuck and stay in my town or stay for a night because they're moving across country and they have to stop and sleep for the night and they need somewhere to stay, or they're just doing a cross country road trip and we're just kind of that pass through town. So you need to start looking at pass through towns. Places outside of destinations, like are you close and around outside of a national park? Are you close and around the surrounding areas of a resort or of Disneyland or Disney World or an amusement park? Those are going to be more affordable areas to invest in, but there's people that need to stay there as well. Now, the next thing you want to look at is traveling workers. So if there's places that have a lot of traveling work come in, so for instance, in my town, I've always heard rumors that a certain big employer in our community has a hard time retaining employees, big employer, and they have a lot of traveling professionals that come in to work there for usually like a minimum of 3 months, and then they can extend it. And I've heard some of them, because it pays better in the traveling profession, are extended to like a year, but they just kind of extend a couple months at a time and they need a furnished place to stay. If you are an area that has a lot of mobile work staff or traveling professionals that don't want to commit, that's another great area to invest. And some of these places are going to be much more affordable than a big destination area. Now, is a big venture capital firm probably going to come here and buy one of these places? Probably not. But for me, I can replace the income of a traditional job by managing just a handful of these properties. So maybe you have a job, you're a teacher and you're sick of it. You're a nurse and you're sick of it. Whatever it is very reasonable. Yeah, my Airbnbs don't make what a vacation Airbnb makes a month. I'm not making $2,000 a night, but I can make enough to replace a traditional income or be a side hustle and be a second income that can go towards saving and investing in other things. So guys, there's always a way. I always see people posting, oh, keyboard warriors, this was possible, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, but it's not possible now. I always see people in the comments attacking somebody that's giving advice. It might not be available in your hometown. If you live in California, is this possible for you to break into the market? Probably not, but maybe your investment strategy starts by investing outside of your area. There's always a way. You have to use your brain and observe and think about where's the best place for you to start. But like I said, I just started an Airbnbs last year, and I started in a small town and it's been profitable. So there's a way in, you just have to look for it and be open-minded. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you guys have any questions about this specifically or anything else, just comment below. Take a minute to subscribe to this channel, share this video with your friends, and guys, start opening your eyes and start looking for investments and what you can do that's gonna work for you. Have a great day. See ya. Bye.